Almost immediately after the explosion today, there was talk of two other nuclear disasters, 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. Tonight, David Curley on the history of those two accidents and what happened here today, the differences and the similarities.
This explosion, these dramatic pictures, are only the tip of what could be a horrific scenario from this out-of-control reactor.
This is an extremely serious situation, and we're not out of the woods yet.
Here's why. This type of plant has a containment building on the outside, and inside a protective vessel that houses the red-hot nuclear core. To control that core, to keep it from overheating and melting, water is pumped in and out.
That's critical for a nuclear reactor.
If your water supply stops in a car, the radiator heats up, your engine seizes. In a reactor, the reactor heats up and it could blow.
But the earthquake cut off electricity to the nuclear plant. Backup systems failed, so operators couldn't pump cooling water in. A buildup of steam and gas was vented into the building, and then that explosion.
Thank God the vessel itself, which contains the superhot uranium, thank God that was intact. If that had ruptured, you're talking about an accident beyond comprehension.
That could still happen. The worst-case scenario, the core overheats and melts down right through its vessel, releasing radiation into the air. Carried by the wind, those breathing in those invisible particles in a 20 to 50-mile range could increase their risk to certain cancers dramatically. That is why the Japanese started the unprecedented step of injecting seawater into the core to cool it.
This is a last-ditch method. This method is not recommended in the manual, but they're doing it because they realize that the alternative is to expose the core, let it melt, create a steam explosion which will blow the reactor apart.
That reactor being injected with salt water is essentially lost. It's an indication of how close to meltdown it has been in the past several hours. The utility also admits that it has released some radioactive gas as well. And tonight, word that the cooling system has failed on a second reactor. There's a problem with a third reactor as well. The government has ordered that power company to make some changes to try and get both of those reactors under control.